The whole small government issue, I understand that people are afraid of enemies. Who do you think created many of these enemies and allowed them to get where they were? Reagan talked about small government. Who do you think he funded? Osama bin Laden and Saddam Hussein. So we take tax dollars to fund tyrants, and then we won't spend more tax dollars to get rid of tyrants. Is everyone so blind in this country that they can't really see that our government are the ones that are basically saying, oh, well, we could just see some person who might be a threat like Saddam or Osama, but we'll give them funding anyway for very little reason. Or what about the Shah of Iran? We funded him. And people think it's a difference. Clinton funded Osama bin Laden too, and after the first World Trade car bombing attempt. And this is the idea of a small government in the first place. That, think about it, like, much of the problems we face in these wars are problems that the government themselves have created by going overseas and creating larger government and global policy. Like, if Reagan and Clinton never funded Osama bin Laden in the first place, he would have never had the power to go against us. And the idea of us being in the Middle East, not minding our own business for 40 years now, funding the Shah of Iran, and then giving Saddam all the weapons he has, and then giving Osama bin Laden weapons and support 2 times, and perhaps we should have just worried about our economy all this time. And I think it is kind of hypocritical. I mean, people were like, yeah, Reagan got rid of communism or whatever when communism will collapse on its own from all of the excessive spending that we seem to be doing as well. I mean, communism was a crappy system because socialism plus military spending equals deficit equals poverty plus starvation. And we in America are going the same route. We want to have the best military, and now we want to have the best socialized medicine and social handouts. And we're getting right to communist in the first place. More government control, we're invading more and more countries for apparently very few reasons. And if we're going to fund these tyrants who are going against us in the first place, why don't we just not worry about funding? And even when it comes to communism, Stalin was the worst of all of the communists, and he killed more people than Hitler. He was, during the Great Purge, he was killing more people, and we knew this, and we're like, whoa, we'll give the Russians support and funds. And then you have the Warsaw Uprising, where you have the Polish, who were the supposed allies of the Russians, and the Russians came into Warsaw. The Polish said, oh, well, this is a good time to fight against the Nazis. And what happened? The Polish people fought, and the Russians sat there in the banks and watched. And by America funding Stalin in the first place and allowing Russia to basically just watch Warsaw going down, did they think then these people would be friendly and just kind of give up the land? The second the Warsaw Uprising was happening, Russia was just sitting there watching their allies get killed and their city burned. America just said, you know what, these Russians are not good people, let's go in and block the problem in the first place. And in my opinion, all of the wars we've ever faced are generally our own faults for funding these tyrants in the first place. Granted, Pearl Harbor was a reason to go to war, and I think there are very few people in America, period, who will disagree with that. And these are the kind of wars we should be going, not creating a problem and then going to spend more money to fix it. And the whole thing with the whole police thing, granted, I agree we should have some police, but we don't need excessive police. And as I've stated before, the reason why there is so much gang violence is because of the drugs coming in the first place, and the gangs selling drugs and getting rich off of it. And it's like the reasons that we made drugs illegal is ridiculous. I mean, it's against the Constitution to make drugs illegal. It's for the states to decide, and people were so insecure that they had to make it change that. I think the state making drugs legal or illegal, deciding themselves, is the ultimate system. I mean, the reasons are stupid. Like, the Mexicans were taking people's jobs in the Southwest, and we want to get them out and they smoke marijuana, so we want to make marijuana illegal so they all leave America. And then a lot of them drugs are our own fault. Like, ecstasy. Like, ecstasy was found, a chemical found in Germany after the Americans took over World War II, and we had it in our banks, and it was like people could just look up ecstasy, and people started making it for themselves, and because people could just get it on data, and it's almost like negligence in the first place for some of these drugs, and drugs were legal for hundreds of years and practically all over the world, and now all of a sudden we have a big problem with them. I should make the drugs legal, and then we won't have to worry about gangsters going around killing people and selling your kids crack. And I mean, I think that's the ideal, and that's what small government's about. And that's by first off, Congress can only declare war, and then Republicans are like, I am for the Constitution, but I think President Bush is to go on war with every country that is a Muslim country, and they don't even, like, they say one thing and do another. And same thing, like, drugs being illegal is against the Constitution. And people say they're for the Constitution, and many Republicans do, but saying something does not mean you are doing that.